Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe roll my pencil like in a kindergarten, holds a 2x4. Yes, could you do that?
Played one time, we played like this. And the kids were teaching us. And we have a ball, that's what caused it, have a ball that came. I can't see, my eyes were so white still. I never understood the psyche behind that. And the kids were fast, you know. All the time.
So,
Christian she is. You know, they have you stop the judgment.
Thank you.
hi Jason, how you doing? Good.
Lonely ones in the front row. You must be over here.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Linda, you have roll call.
Mayor Crane.
Here.
Councilmember Saltz.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Sayre.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Tanner.
Here.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Minutes stand approved. I have in front of you, ordinance number 2023-2, replacing 2023-1. It's a salary ordinance, changing the superintendent of the electrical department for right now to the superintendent of utilities. And, the only other change is a Class D employee to $12.50 an hour.
Is that up from like 10.50? Is that what was brought?
It, actually, that one is down from $12.95, because we don't have any at that,
Classification.
Class D at that classification right now.
Do we have a copy of 2023-1 to compare this to?
The only thing changed is the superintendent of electrical is now the superintendent of utilities.
But the dollars are the same.
Yes. That's the only thing that's different.
Do we have any, you know, we got Class A employees down at the street department. One of them has a CDL and a sprayer's license.
Yes.
Have we made any allotment for the employee having those two licenses?
No, we haven't.
Well,
We
he
did, originally.
used to be.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
continued to go up, but we may have to look at that and,
Yeah, because he was questioning him because he's
Yeah.
got his CDLs and his sprayer's
Yeah.
license, which he's required to have.
yes.
That's probably something we need to look at. I don't,
like for everybody else to get their CDLs too.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm just bringing that up because he's asked about it. you know.
Sure.
Some point,
If we pass this now, Brad, I mean, is that something we can look into and change in the near future?
Oh, yeah, yeah, because we changed this once.
Yeah.
When we changed it for the police department,
Right.
and,
So we could do that for a CDL
Yeah.
and a sprayer
Yeah.
license, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think,
that's what I can let him know.
I think we should talk about that, address it, maybe at the June meeting.
Yeah,
probably at some point, we ought to look at the classification of employee based upon whether they have those certifications.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
CDL or,
Yeah,
but it used to be that way, you know, if they got
yeah.
their license and.
Right now, we have two trucks, one dump truck and one street sweeper that require that. So Tyler, you're planning on getting yours.
I've already done some checking into it.
Pardon?
I've already done some checking
Okay.
into it. Yeah, but we mentioned that quite a while back, that we would pay for our employees if they went to get CDL license,
for the class, I think full.
for, yeah, your CDL license.
Any more they require class.
Yeah.
Well, that's getting pretty expensive, I mean, you know, we've looked into that before, that.
Yeah.
Anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000, $7,000.
Yes,
But each year, we've talked about it for a few years, it just gets more and more
Yeah.
expensive. So, I mean, it's
So-
went from about $1,500 now
Yeah.
to 5 or 6.
yeah,
Brad, my question, so we're still looking to hire electrical superintendent.
Yes.
By adding this spot, superintendent of utilities, will you have a budget, enough in your budget to hire an electrical superintendent?
yes, we still have enough, they're in for electrical to do that.
Okay,
Yeah, this is coming out, actually, we're still, even after this, we're about $150,000
okay,
less in payroll than we were a year ago with this. Even if we had an electrical superintendent, we'd still be $150,000 better off.
okay.
But Brad, of the vacancy, how much of it, or how, that gap, how much of it is due to the fact that some of the roles have been vacant for a period of time?
Not very long. Yeah,
So only a small portion of
about,
that 150.
probably
is what you're saying.
100,000, yeah.
It is still just straight based on budget, not based on vacancy.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So does the superintendent of utilities oversee all the utilities, I take it, is that
Yes.
the description?
Yes,
Will that change when we get an electric superintendent?
depending on his level of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, will it change for the superintendent of utilities when we do get an electric superintendent?
If he's, qualified.
Yeah,
If he's,
well, we're not gonna hire
We shouldn't
somebody.
hire somebody that's not.
no, if he's qualified to supervise people,
Right,
yeah. Yeah,
well, we'll have the 75,000 on top of
yes,
whatever we have to pay electric superintendent
Yes.
on top of that.
yes,
But this 75,000 for the utility superintendent
Yes.
won't go down, it'll stay where it's at,
it'll stay where it's at.
stay where it's at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so we got enough in the budget to take care of it.
Oh, we haven't. Utilities aren't budgeted, but
Yeah.
we're well ahead of where we
Okay,
need to be.
okay.
If it's still open based on electrical, why you look for the classification name change? I mean, if we're not even sure how we're filling that.
I'm just not, till we hire an electrical superintendent, I'm just not adding that in there.
So the electrical superintendent will still report to this person, is what you're saying?
No. Electrical if we find a qualified electrical superintendent, he will take over right where Clint did.
Okay.
But until we do, this person will supervise over both departments.
Until such time.
Yes,
When we find an electric superintendent, then this superintendent over utilities will just be over the water, sewer, and streets, right?
right.
Right, okay. for this?
Yes.
I make a motion, we accept the ordinance 2023-2.
A second.
Okay, Josh?
You do have someone fill the position, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'll vote yes.
Okay, Justin?
Yes.
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Pass 2023-2.
I need 3 of these signed.
Yes.
Have ever tried to figure out where to spread the like, well, I got a picture of it on here. There you go.
Sign all of that.
I would like to announce we are hiring Ashlyn Livengood as the pool manager this year, and Carson Engel will also be helping. Anybody knows anybody that wants to lifeguard, we've raised that to $10 an hour, so let them know.
Do we have information on, like pool passes and all that stuff yet?
Not yet. We should have the first meeting in May, though. Greg? Tyler? Josh?
I just, did I hear correctly, I might get the day wrong, but was it last Monday, did we have another electrical incident with our crew? Transformer went face to face, firebomb.
I don't think
guy's
so.
face.
I haven't heard that.
Well, I heard the big, over the hill, big boom, hooking up that new pump, went face to face. I
No,
thought you knew, cause when he went to look at it, he said that you were already there.
they're,
My big concern with it is if it was or if it didn't, this is like the second or third time
Yeah.
within a month or so. I deal with accidents and
oh,
electric
it
all the
was,
time.
I'll tell you what happened. The motor was grounded and it did, it wasn't a loud boom. I was right there and it was more of a shh, and it blew the fuse.
Okay, he said it shook his windows and he went down
Who?
and said that they went face to face with it, that the switch was on when he.
No.
My biggest concern is that
Okay.
if there's question, let's
Yeah.
call somebody and ask to
Yeah.
make sure it's right, because when you go
Yeah.
face to face, statistically,
Yeah.
you're gonna have not just an accident, you're gonna have a fatality.
No,
So if these guys need help, they have avenues to get
Yeah.
help, they need
Yeah.
to be willing to speak up and
Yeah.
ask for that help,
Yeah.
so,
no.
okay.
Greg, you were there, weren't you?
Sounded pretty loud to me.
Yeah, it was a short, the pump was
Okay.
shorted.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he just blew his fuse then, which
Yeah.
would make,
It just blew a fuse.
okay,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah,
motor was ground, so.
It was grounded, you know, I checked the pump and, there was, each, leg was shorted to ground
Okay,
after they blew it, so,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the only thing I had, just concerns over those
Yeah,
guys to.
no.
Let's make some phone calls if they have questions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they were fine. Is that all you had, Justin?
Yes, sir.
Justin?
I don't have anything, no.
Joe?
Yeah, I don't have anything tonight.
Brad?
Nothing new.
Bob?
I got a couple, three things there. I've been asked to find out about the test well we voted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is it gonna be, in the aquifer?
Well, we're not sure yet. We think it is. It's about 35 feet deep. They hung it on 21 feet of pipe.
Yeah.
So right now, they're in the process of dropping it down farther. It was pumping a 60 gallon a minute, and, but it was cavitating at that.
Well, the reason I ask, you know, we're obviously in the aquifer now, and eventually,
Yes.
when we go to this new well that we're probably about to put in, we wanna make sure we've got an ample supply of water.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't wanna be putting it someplace where people are on their own well.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there's been instances that people put in irrigation systems and
yeah.
it drained it, you know?
And you know where we're at now?
No,
Oh, we're down on the railroad grade
well, you're probably gonna get.
on our property.
Yeah,
And, right where we halt, where we keep stone,
yeah,
you know, we're right there.
well, you're probably
Yeah.
gonna, if I recall correctly, when we flew that, I mean, you're probably gonna be in, well, I mean, the wells you put in out the golf course, didn't you hit the aquifer?
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're 350 gallon a minute.
Yeah, well,
And they're not deep enough, that's why we had to be up on higher ground,
yeah,
because IDM would never pass them.
right,
They have to have, I think, at least 25 feet of casing,
mm-hmm.
so,
Well, that was one of the
Yeah.
questions I had, on that. The other thing is, Butch Strother has a drain that goes underneath 9.5 Street on Commercial, the corner there. There's a basin on the south side, or I mean, on the west side of 9.5 Street that probably plugged up. And he said the last time we got that heavy rain, it come clear up in his yard,
okay,
so that was
you know where that's at?
Sorry, I got a phone call, what'd you say?
9.5 Street and Commercial, there's a tile that goes underneath 9.5 Street, runs to the west. There's a basin on the west side there. Butch seems to think that that basin is stopped up, not letting it drain. So you might wanna check that.
Yeah, you get it sucked out.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we brought up about this, getting these grapes taken up around the square, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with the trees?
Because of the trees, around the trees, and that hadn't been done yet.
No. We wanted to go ahead and do that. We'll probably have to cut some roots if we do that.
Well, the places that the roots are pushing these up, I mean, people can't triple,
Yeah,
you know. But eventually, all of them around the square that's got around trees and
Yeah.
stuff, they're all gonna be popping up, you know. Anyway, I think we need to look into that and get those there taken
Okay.
care of. The other thing I got is, Mr. Chumley has told me that Decker Engineering will have his engineering done on his 19 or 20 lots out there by June the 13th.
30 lots,
Huh?
30 lots.
30 lots anyway. By June the 13th or 14th, which is, a couple weeks ahead of the deadline on that.
they'll have the engineering done, Brian. Okay, so is it with Covington Hills or out there?
Whispering Willows.
Okay,
Whispering Willows out there. So,
why'd you give up on Covington Hills?
Well, because we felt like that is the only place that Covington can really grow commercially, for businesses and stuff there. We feel like, there's several things that Covington needs, like an urgent care clinic. At some point there, they're gonna need some electric charging stations and stuff there somewhere. It'd be nice to have like a sandwich shop out there, possibly another grocery store. If you guys know another place where we could put that, let us know. But we'd like to see it kind of go more commercial out there.
So you're back on Whispering Willows now?
Come on.
Okay.
You know, about, you know, years ago when Brian bought the manholes and water lines, sewer lines to run up to where it's south of Greg Myers' property,
Yes.
those were never finished by
No.
Rick. I got a letter here that Rick had signed that was supposed
Oh.
to be done.
No, we know that they're not put in.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't got them. And we were ready to pay him back, but he didn't want paid back.
he wants them put in like the agreement was. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to find out, you know.
That we ran on, you were over the department,
When that was put in.
Rick Smith.
no, he was over the department,
Yeah,
over the street department. He was on the council over the department.
right.
So, we ran, you know what we did?
Yeah,
We ran on and put a manhole in,
right,
okay? And we ran and put a hydrant in
right.
and a valve.
The water line is run all the way up to the south side of the road that goes in by Greg's house. The water line's already up
Okay.
there. The fire hydrant's about halfway between there and where you
Mhm.
pull into the property.
Right,
And the water lines and sewer lines and the manhole for that project was bought by Mr. Chumney.
they were,
Yeah, and we were supposed to put it in.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, Rick, you want me to read this, what Rick stated? On it?
I'd like to see it,
Okay. Here's his signed letter,
okay?
you know, but before any of that stuff can be done out there, I mean, we're gonna have to put in what we're supposed to put in. This is the front letter that Rick wrote.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, this is. That's mine, there.
Yeah, I know.
While you're looking at that, did we get, Walters taken care of at 12th and Washington?
There's a catch basin there, and it's probably, it plugged up, and we're gonna have to look into putting maybe some kind of pump in there, that there's just, other than that, there's not much more we can do, it's all pretty flat, you know, it's all low up in there, so. And that's gonna be quite an undertaking to get that problem with the wastewater taken care of. There's a catch and tile, there's a root in it somewhere, we've jetted it, can't find where it's at, so. We just got our sewer camera fixed today, so if we can get the water stopped long enough to get the camera in and look, see what's in there.
Hey, Brian, when did he do this? When did he sign that? When Rick signed it?
Probably 2 months ago.
Okay. So I figured.
Where did I get
This isn't right. That's not right. None of that's right. And besides that, he has two manholes. You have two manholes coming, right?
No, we just paid for 2. That depends whether the one by Michael and Jessica is considered, one of those manholes.
Yeah, it would be, cause that was brought to your.
So when they bring the one over across 13th Street, that Brad Scott Development, who will pay for that? Will that be the city, or will that be you guys pay for
I
it?
think the one, don't worry about ours, Brian, let's talk about yours.
I just wanna make sure it's.
You
fair.
have, there was one in Harlan out there, and then there's one up there, another one that, was straight south.
There's one that
Kinda
was
by
about in for
Unit
Glen
Ridges.
Ridge.
And then one that's up by Jessica and Michael Lewandowski's.
Right,
And that's,
That should be
that's
the
the
one.
one we put in.
yes, and then you
Yeah.
were supposed to
The
run
one
it all the
by-
way to Greg Myers' intersection up there too.
Okay, I, see,
And then also, wasn't you supposed to run, I paid for all the electrical for 8 lots, and was that put in by Clint Crucius?
yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
It was, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so why, I bought all that material, everything was paid for by me back years ago for you to put all that in. And Rick signed it there saying
Well,
that you're the one that canceled it.
I did not cancel
You
it.
did
That-
too
That's
cancel it.
what's incorrect. I did not cancel it.
Well, I'm just trying to get to.
This is a he said thing. This was 8 years ago, and he's bringing stuff up. Had Rick, who was fired for insubordination, sign a paper.
Well, I got what, you can see what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get,
I
if
see,
we are
Bob.
supposed to put it
Yeah.
in, it has to be put in for him to be able to develop it further.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I mean,
I'm saying that what Rick signed is wrong.
okay,
That's wrong.
So when you sat on the front step across from the radio station with me and Polly, I said, what is required, what do we have to do for this, and what will the city do? You said, Covington has no place to grow, you guys pay for the material, and we will put it in. That's exactly what you said, did he say that, Polly? Yes.
That-
Word for word, you said,
that-
there's no.
And then we bought all the material, Brad, and then it's sat out there for a long time because you did not put it in. So Rick Smith came down to me, the south end, I said, Rick, he said, we're done. I said, when are you coming back to do the rest of it? He said, nope, he said, we're done, he said, the mayor said that we're done. And then I called you out there, and then you said, oh, well, Brian, you were supposed to have, I thought you were
This
gonna have
is-
Rick Smith put this in. Yeah, he did.
It's
Sit there, sit
8
there.
years ago.
I don't
you
care,
called-
Brad.
You called Scott Powell.
So you know what, so we decided, me and Polly said that we'll just drop it until we have a new mayor. And then from there on, we'll start to continue doing our development again. So since then, we've done all kinds of different things
You
around
just,
town.
you come every meeting wanting to fight.
No, I'm just telling the truth, somebody needs to call you out on it. At least we've got a couple council members up there that are challenging it a little bit.
Either side, why was it never put in and finished? I mean, I just.
Well,
new to it.
here's why, our policy has always been, we bring it onto the property, and then, they would, the owner, the developer, takes it from there. Is that not correct, Linda?
Yes.
That's,
Moving forward with the new developments will be the same way?
it's been that way.
So that's the way it is, okay.
It,
No,
I
I'm just
mean,
asking,
well, no, that hasn't the way it's always been done, but, I mean, Bob,
that's.
Bob put one in, for John Woodrow,
Yeah,
and the city paid Scott and Dale Powell to run the water and sewer, and, did John buy the pipe?
John bought all the material, manholes, rings, lids, everything, he bought all that. Only
Just
thing
like we did.
Yeah, the city paid Powell to put that in, connect it to work with that.
That's the only one I've ever heard of in town though. I never did understand why the city did that.
Well,
When the community action out there wanted to put theirs in, nobody offered to put theirs in.
The main reason we did that out there at John Woodrow, because we knew how deep the manholes were gonna have to be. We couldn't reach it, we couldn't do it with a backhoe. About 15 feet deep, we couldn't do it.
So did you offer to do community actions out there where Brian bought? Because if that's the case, then I would like for Shiloh to be put on the list for the city. We've got material, I'd love for them to put them in for us. That'd be awesome.
It was already put in to connect it by the city. Didn't you do the work to connect it from the street to the current development?
You mean you talking about John Woodrow?
No, I'm talking about to the new Shiloh development. Didn't us as a council already vote to have that put in?
They are not
It was
putting,
not- it
I'm
was
talking about
contracted
putting
out.
it in on Shiloh. you're
That's
talking
what I'm
about,
saying, it's
you're talking
already-
about the city of Covington putting it in for Brian.
It's already to the start of Shiloh though, correct?
Oh, that,
The main, and
that
the
was,
sewer, and the
that was
water.
when we put it in for Fountain Springs,
Yes, sir.
assisted living, and,
Before you
and,
guys were involved with it, but
yeah,
Yeah.
before we bought the land,
Yeah.
I mean, it was run back there. And that's why the street was put in
yeah,
for,
with the utility.
for Kip White's property.
I just remember
But
our
you didn't
guy,
know you was gonna buy that
our guys
Shiloh
couldn't
development at
reach
that
it.
time, Brad?
Oh, no.
You put the road in?
No, no,
So also then now you're adding the 13th Street, so you're gonna run that all the way back to where past Bob and Amy Hayes' houses?
that's Orchard Drive.
No, I'm talking about 13th Street. So they're clearing trees out right now, you're having evidently city people do that, cutting the trees down
Where at?
on 13th Street off of Pearl Street. So you're gonna run that all the way back, how far are you gonna run that? Past Bob and Amy Hayes'
13th
place?
Street, we're widening 13th Street and Blacktop.
But you're putting an all new road in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So then the city also bought Orchard Drive, the east end of Orchard Drive, correct?
we did.
Yeah. So when will that be put in? Next year?
We don't know
Community
yet.
crossings?
We don't know. Because it was gonna be sold to one way or the other to somebody to they were gonna privatize the road and shut it down.
So there's also, you annexed in all the ground to the north of the Shiloh
We
development.
did, we
Yeah,
did.
So that's what, 44 acres or something like
I
that?
think it is.
Okay, now how does that get annexed into the city when you can't even annex in the golf course and then Rivendell still isn't
We're-
annexed in?
We're annexing it, the golf
You're
course.
trying to
in.
now. But why would you hold that off? So it's held
They
off all
did-
this time, for what reason?
They didn't ask to be.
So
You're-
you was trying to get a TIF through there, if there was more than 1% development in Covington, then you could not put in for a TIF.
You know more about it than me.
Yeah, well, I've got paperwork right here that shows it.
Yeah.
the golf course has been asking for almost a year to be brought in through Bob Tanner has mentioned it.
They have, and our attorney's working on it.
And then he came to
Josh.
Solace too, right?
Pardon?
So that is something we're working on.
Oh,
golf
yeah.
course.
Yeah, the attorney's been working on it for a
Okay.
while. Yeah, they have all our utilities.
Well, our obligation as far as the city is to get water and sewer to your development out there, get it over to your property line. We know that the city's gonna be out that expense to get it over, because that's our obligation for the development.
Right.
To get it to your property line.
And we already have it on the, Fountain
You
Drive.
do, yeah,
On the east side.
you do up there, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to have it on the
On the
west
west
side of your
side,
property.
right. But we haven't asked the city, we don't expect the city to run the lines for us
No, but they gotta get it to
on the
your property.
development. Right,
Yeah, you gotta get it to your property. That's where your infrastructure takes off at,
right.
on that. The other thing, did we find out anything on whether this Ready grant is including streets?
It is,
It
It
changes
does.
it to where it is.
yes.
Okay.
They, Jake, if they went back and clarified it,
Well,
So it does include streets?
they corrected themselves.
I told you that.
No, you didn't.
The last time, right when you were up here,
You said we were gonna have to put in the roads at our own expense, sir.
she said that
She told us that.
in January. And then I clarified it, I said,
We
no,
haven't
it's
been
gonna
told
be
any
included.
different.
Huh?
So we haven't been told any different.
When you were up here, talking to us.
You said that, Brian, you understand, you're
At the
gonna have to
last
put the roads
meeting.
in yourself
That
there.
was the first meeting
That was up there with Bob and Brad was right there when I was in.
Originally back in January, she
In
had
January,
spoken and
that's
said
what
that
she
it
said.
was not included, and she came back the very next day and corrected herself, and ever since then, every bit
Yeah,
of
well,
the
there's
discussion
no communication
has been
about
talking
it.
about including it. It's been here even in the middle of council meetings. So I don't know how I heard it in the middle of council meetings and you didn't.
Did you hear that? I haven't heard
That must have been the meeting. I
Heath
didn't-
wasn't here.
Hey Brad, does now, are they doing electrical now then too? Is that part of it or?
Here's what she clarified.
Yeah.
If we own our electric company and we maintain our streets, then it will be included.
Okay,
Yeah,
yep. I hadn't heard that either, just,
Yeah.
that was news.
I think that a lot of that discussion, I think, happened when you were in Spring break.
Okay, 10-4.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
the
apologize,
next,
I did not hear that. That was brought up. That was
the
true.
next question I got, if his ends up being approved and everything, once his engineering's done before the deadline and stuff, at this time, do we need to have a motion that each developer receive half of the ready grant money?
We need to make sure each project is done before we're gonna make any motion
Exactly.
on that.
Exactly, and how do we find this out? Are we expecting something from our ready grant people, once
Yeah.
both of you have met the criteria that they're asking for?
The IEDC will,
They'll let us know.
I think so.
They'll have to
Yeah.
approve it first.
Yeah, once they approve it, then how do we get word that both of them have been approved, or one had and the other one hadn't?
The IEDC will let us know.
And then
They'll
what?
let us know.
And then it will become back to you and us as a council,
To
as a
come back to the
resolution
council,
to
yes.
vote on. Okay.
Yes.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all, that's,
So, but how is that money gonna, so you, we're not sure how the money's gonna be divided yet?
And until the project's been approved. Well, that's the first step.
I assume that if once both projects are assumed, then each developer will be given or the amount of half of the ready grant, which I think it's,
I don't think you can go based on that, you're gonna have to look at a lot of factors.
oh, yeah,
Based on the grants,
yeah.
but, you know, there'll be some sort of appropriation based on what's been approved by the state.
Now, what we were told is you've already put in, for the funds for $550,000, is that correct? I was told that by,
That's
Chris Rock.
gonna be dependent on what they approve.
so when will we find this out? When,
Well, probably as soon as they approve it.
so the point being here is, if we do this, we're gonna spend $37,000 something, which we're okay with. But we wanna know that we're gonna be given a fair share of the money for doing our development. But it's kinda hard when you're up there, also a developer.
The council's gonna make the decision, right?
Well, my question is, if you've already submitted $550,000 to the ready grant people for what you're trying to develop, then once they approve yours or whatever, you submit for $375,000.
I was asking, it asked for a budget,
Okay,
and I didn't even put everything in the budget. And I didn't include any, digging, any labor in the budget.
yeah.
My budget was based on labor only, or materials only.
Material.
We did not
Yeah.
put anything in for roads because I didn't know that.
Well, if we don't need to do that now, why, I guess the only thing the council can do now is sit here and wait and see if both or one of you has approved for the development.
Or how much they've approved.
How much they have approved, yeah, true.
And they'll be changing it every year.
Our hands are tied until we get that.
And everything else, yeah. Once we get that, well, then we can go ahead and proceed.
You okay with that, Brian?
I guess I don't have a choice.
We're stuck until then ourselves.
Well, are you?
Now, who's the new grant administrator now? Do you know that, Brad, since you're on
No.
that committee?
I don't.
It was Chris Brock, but then March 31st is her last day.
I don't know who it is.
But she sent us an email saying that there's only 200,000 left, so she just wanted to let us know
Oh,
that.
well, I don't know.
I
How
don't
much was
know.
your budget? How much did you put in your budget for?
I don't remember, it's like 380 something thousand.
Okay, so more than half. You didn't include roads, so, correct? Okay.
That's all I got to
Okay.
take on.
You have anything else, Brian?
I don't think so.
Jason? Anybody else?
Well, I don't know about all these subdivisions, but I'm just confused about one thing. I didn't realize we was getting a new mayor.
Brian said we were. We'll find out in 2 weeks from tomorrow, won't we?
I guess we will.
Does anybody else have anything? Meeting's adjourned.
No, it's